always such a pleasure to just be in your company. The folks that have never met you, you are a community activist, but you are the founder of New Life Second Chance. And just through that work with you and Miko Menifee and others, you changed the lives of so many women, children, just families. So share with our audience what New Life Second Chance is, and then we're going to share all of the great news you've had here recently.
Okay. Well, New Life Second Chance is a 501c3 here in Columbus, Georgia. We work with individuals who are formerly incarcerated or convicted. As you know, a lot of people with criminal records, a lot of them have not actually served time.
Right.
But they are affected by having a criminal record just like somebody that's been in prison. And we basically assist them with job readiness trainings. We used to actually have them come into an office and we would do job referral services, but since we no longer have an office and we're providing services in the community, we are doing workshops, you know, resume writing workshop, confidence building workshops, job fairs, how to interact with law enforcement, expungement clinics, anything that a person needs that's dealing with having a criminal record, that is what we're here to do. And so that is what we try to do in the community. All the services are free. They're usually at the local public library, have access, and that's it.
Wow. And so I was at an event where you had women that had been incarcerated, and you were able to place them, send them on jobs, very good paying jobs, not fast food, but I mean in industry. So I was able to hear their own testimony of how one lady got a promotion, and I won't call the name of the company, but I was really impressed. And she had been in jail for like prison for spice or something, she was saying. And
in and out.
Right, and they have children, and I mean, just how do you connect with the people, with the employers? Did you go out knocking on doors, or how did you find such great employers?
That's pretty much what we do. Me and the board of directors, we try to contact them however, whether it's email, we call them, and we do knock on doors. We try to get into meetings with them. We want to know if you're willing to give second chances. And for those who say I'm not interested or they may have been burned, we try to give them the benefits of them, whether, you know, they can get tax exempt statuses, but we also try to give them the benefit of what it does to the community. When you give someone a job who hasn't had a job, it builds their confidence, and eventually they're focusing more on getting their lives together as opposed to doing something else that'll get them back in trouble.
Exactly.
And it basically benefits the community as a whole.
Right, and that helps with recidivism.
It does.
You want to give them a reason and a purpose to be a part of the community. And so that's why you are out there, because I was stunned. The lady called the name of the company and she said, well, I just got a promotion. And I was like, wow. And
she was actually one of the ones, I actually met her. I ended up going to an event, and she was one of the ones, hadn't too long, got out, and she got up and did her testimony about the jail program. And someone told her to talk to me because she said she didn't have a job. So of course when people see me, they say that's the job lady. So she ended,
but that's a good reputation to have.
So she ended up following me to my car, and I told her to come in. I think this was a Thursday. I said, come in later on. She came in Thursday. I gave her an appointment for Tuesday. She came in Tuesday. I called the person, put her up there, and she didn't have a ride. And a lot of times we extend ourselves, and I ended up giving her a ride to go to her interview, and she called me a couple hours later saying she had gotten the job.
How awesome is that? And I know for a fact myself, because I was at another one of your community workshops, and you actually had children, babies in car seats of women that you had placed on jobs. Yeah, because you wanted them to be able to have that second chance, and you were not going to let child care stand in the way.
Yes, and it's really hard when you're living with people when you get out. And a lot of people will tell you they want to help you, but then after a while they'll start pressuring you, saying you need to get a job, get off my couch, you need to do this. But then when you get a job, you have a lot of family who really doesn't support you, and they'll say, okay, you got a job, what are you going to do with your kids? So it really deters people, and it discourages folk from wanting to get a job. And so I felt obligated, even though it was not our job to do that. I feel that if we want to help you get a job, I guess I can be a babysitter for 2 weeks until you get your first check.
You can be that safety net, that support services.
Yes, and because I know if I was in the same situation, it would have really helped me.
Right. And that's because you've been able to look at it from the other side of the coin. And of course, you have you've served some time in the correctional facility in Georgia. And how long were you there?
I was there a year.
You were there just for a year. And so you learned a lot of things along the way.
Yes.
But can't let it go by without saying you are a scholar, that you're the person with the 2 master's degrees and forever going to school, trying to get a PhD, and think you're going to have to go on to law school because you have that, just that desire to learn and to help others. Yeah. So you have closed the physical office, but they can always find you on Facebook and social media,
Twitter, and we do have a phone number that they can call Tuesdays through Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we're answering their phones, and they contact us on our website as well. Right.
And because of all of that hard work, you have been recognized in the community by some very important groups. The biggest, I would say, is my mentor and great friend, State Senator Ed Harbison, actually had you come to the Capitol in Atlanta, and you were recognized. And so how did you feel about that?
Well, I didn't actually get a chance to go to the Capitol, but what we met was attended a Martin Luther King event at Metropolitan Baptist Church, and unbeknownst to me, I had been honored along with Michael Soule.
That's for the humanitarian.
For the humanitarian award, but Senator Harbison was there. Right. And as I got up and just gave a brief part of my testimony and gave some statistics, I think it just wowed them to know that this little bitty small organization in Columbus has helped over 135 felons find employment or
in
go back
this
to
community.
School in this community. And
without any grants, any
grant,
funding from the crime prevention, no grants, just faith, grace and mercy and favor.
And people trying to support us with every little dollar they can. And so I guess that, you know, sparked something in him, because about a week later, one of his aides contacted us and said, well, Senator Ed Harbison was very impressed about what you've done. You're doing an awesome job in the community. And he's wanting to do a Senate resolution in your honor. Really? And that just really humbled me, because it felt good to finally get noticed for the work that I'm doing.
Exactly. And no pay, but just appreciate it. Well, what we're going to do is go to our first break, and we'll be right back. All right. We'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy, introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates, LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you. Stark Avenue, Columbus, Bradley Park, Columbus, Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange, East Burkhalter Avenue, Buena Vista, and Springs Street in Warm Springs. Thai Cuisine, the area's only authentic Thai restaurant, open for lunch and dinner, Monday through Saturday, located in the Village Green Shopping Center on the 280 bypass in Phoenix City. Apple Tax Services, located at 7413 Whitesville Road, Suite 400A, as in Apple. For professional, efficient, and courteous service, call today at 706-243-2595. Apple Tax Services, a company you can trust.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my conversation with the awesome community servant, Waleisah Wilson. So, Waleisah, State Senator Ed Harbison had a resolution ready in your honor.
Yes, SR 121.
121. And what did I text you? Psalms 121. I lift my eyes unto the hills. Yes. And so you are a woman of faith.
Yes, I am.
And so even in the darkest hours, your story is so powerful. And I always say, when you're faithful over a few things, He will make you ruler over many. Yes. You're the person that, and your board members, you go out and you take care of the homeless. Yes. any event where there's extra food, you want to pack it up and make dinners and take it out to the homeless, and not necessarily in the shelters, because we have a lot of homeless people that will not go to the shelters.
That's right, or they're not able to go to the shelters because they've been put out or been restricted.
Exactly. And so you're out in the hedges and the highways, making sure you take care of them too.
Yes.
So, but you were actually given the resolution for all the work that you and your board of directors did with
New Life
Second Chance. And that's 121.
Yes.
So you went to Atlanta, and how was that?
It was great, and I've actually been going back and forth to Atlanta, and so working with different projects. And at first, you know, about 6 months ago, I was like, you know, Georgia, my local community is not really warming up to me or supporting me, and I think I might need to leave Georgia.
Right. And we didn't want you to do that, because you and I had that conversation, because the people in New York recognized what you were doing, and how you were doing it with no support from this community.
Yes, without compensation.
Exactly.
You know, it's very rare to find a lot of people that invest that kind of years, and there are grassroots organizations here that are doing the same thing. They're investing their own money without any help to try to get that done. So I was like, wow, you know, I have to go outside of my own place to get that recognition.
Right.
And so I said, you know what, I'll just stay where I'm at, and I'll try to make the change here.
Yes.
And that's what I've been doing, and working with different projects. I'm working with trying to get some of the laws changed here, working on trying to allow, in Georgia, in the state of Georgia, you cannot vote if you're on probation or parole.
Right.
And in Georgia, a lot of people are on probation 15, 20, 30 years.
Right.
So basically, they'll never vote in the rest of their life. And so I have a problem with that, to me, because it's the same thing that they did in Jim Crow, to take away your right to vote.
Right.
And so they're working on that in Georgia, and I'm happy to be a part of that with trying to solicit support on trying to get that law passed.
And so you will be working with State Senator Ed Harbison and State Senator Josh McCoon.
Yes, we're trying to hopefully in the next couple of months get with them and work on some of the issues that we want to hear, because I feel like in order for them to be able to see it from our perspective, I want them to be able to know what we are dealing with. Those of us with criminal records, what our barriers are. We need help in education, we need help in housing, we need help with health care, we need help with employment. And so they're not going to know that. They know what they hear in the news, but to be able to put a face to that.
Right.
And to be able to say, I'm speaking for all those people because I'm in the same situation.
Well, and it can be anybody.
Yes.
You know, it's only by the grace of God. And I always tell people, it's the caught and the uncaught. I remember we were college students, and we would go from FAMU back to Albany State after a party. Somebody was driving. Something really could have happened very badly. So, you know, we don't need to try to judge that.
That's
and anything $500 or more, you could really have.
That's a felony.
You know, that's a felony. So a lot of times when people use that term, and they use it very loosely, they don't always understand what that means. That bar is a very low bar.
Yes.
Yeah. And then in my other life as a social worker, I saw that a lot of the normal adolescent behavior, like kids fighting at school and things like that, now it's a crime. Before it was you stay after school with the principal, but now it's a criminal issue.
Yes.
And so, you know, we have to start looking at things like that. So you got State Senator Ed Harbison. You've been acknowledged through the Black History observance this year for your humanitarian services. Well, people always outside of your home sometimes acknowledge your gifts and talents first. So the folks in New York, they've been courting you. So they invited you to join this national prestigious organization.
Yes.
And what is that?
Just Leadership USA.
Just Leadership
Yes,
USA.
I ended up going to Oakland in September to a national conference that is primarily for returning citizens, people, those formerly incarcerated who are now leaders in their community. And it was about it was hundreds of people. And it was just truly inspiring to know that there were people who were lawyers, practicing attorneys, doctors, and accountants in this conference. And I ended up, Just Leadership USA was there, and I ended up meeting the founder there and one of the guys there, and he said, you know, why don't you apply? And of course, when I'm looking at some of these people, I see they're doing big things. And I'm like, well, I'm just helping people get jobs in little bitty Columbus. my confidence was not there.
Right.
And I really said I wasn't going to apply.
Right.
And I didn't have enough confidence in myself. But I know that fear is not of God.
Exactly.
So I ended up applying for it, and it was very competitive. And out of all the hundreds of people that applied, 37 of us were chosen.
And you
to
were one of
participate
that.
in a year-long program.
37.
Yes.
I tell you. And then, of course, they were trying to court you and move you to New York. And we were like telling you, no, you have to stay here because you are truly an example of servant leadership.
Yes,
you will
thank
see
you.
people have it on their resume, but it's not about the photo ops. It's about being out there, grinding it out with people, helping them, to meet their goals when no one's looking.
That's right.
Because it's easy to do it when the cameras are there.
It's about what you're doing when the cameras are off.
Exactly. And so Just Leadership, they got you flying everywhere. You're getting ready to go somewhere again.
Yes.
So where are you headed to now?
We'll be going to, go back to New York in 2 weeks. And with the program, it's a year-long program, like a training program. It's not compensated, but hey, I've been doing it long enough.
So you're one of the
fine.
fellows, they call
One of the fellows.
Yes.
That we go back 4 times a year, traveling to New York, where we have these very extensive 2 to 3 day trainings. I mean, we're up at 7 o'clock and we're leaving the trainings at 6. By the time we go to dinner and get back in our hotel room, it's almost 11 o'clock at night.
So you're working.
Yes,
It's a working
we're learning
conference.
about policy, we're learning about laws, we're learning about organizing, about movement. So everything that we're working on. And then throughout the year, we have webinars and we have phone conferences, we have town hall calls, we have calls with the Justice Department.
And those are the ones you normally post and tell people if they have been affected that they some of those they can just listen in.
Yes.
Right. They can't help facilitate, but they can just listen in. There's a lot of useful information there as well.
Yes, ma'am. And we also have just a group of us who've been incarcerated. We get together, and it's through another organization out of Virginia called House of Dreams. That they actually have their phone call.
House of Dreams.
House of Dreams out of Virginia. And they have a phone call every Tuesday night. Everybody on the line has been affected by the system, whether we've been incarcerated or they have loved ones who are incarcerated. And it's just a way to get on the phone and connect, and we talk about what new laws is going on, what we need help with. Someone may be in Washington, D.C. that needs to know a place that they can go and find a job, and you have somebody on the phone and say, this is what you do. It's a place to connect,
it's a
support
network.
and encourage and get that spiritual empowerment that you need without anybody judging anybody.
That's awesome.
That's a free call that we do weekly.
That's a weekly call. Okay, what we're going to do is go to our final break to our sponsors, and we'll be right back. Okay, we'll be right back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. Freedom Printing for all of your designer printing needs. Gunboat Plaza, Suite 18. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Best Care, transforming minds and bodies, leading the way in the latest techniques of medical weight loss and wellness. Certified in family medicine and bariatrics, Dr. Blunt is ready to assist in the transformation of your mind and body. Call today, 706-221-6477, or visit bestcarecolumbus.com. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life.
History is important because it shows where you're coming from and where you're going. Type 2 diabetes is something that runs in my family, which means I'm at risk. In fact, 1 in 3 American adults are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And knowing this, if I do nothing, that family history becomes my family's future. And my family is too important to me for that. Take the risk factor assessment today at AskScreenKnow.com.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my conversation with the awesome Waleisah Wilson. Waleisah, you are a member of, what is that sorority?
Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated.
I knew you'd say that with so much pride. And,
yes, ma'am.
And so is our director of the show, Nicole Jones. And the anchor here, Leah Uko, and of course some of the great people I know from the Albany State University.
Which same colors are blue and gold.
I know you all just love that blue and gold. But you are doing a lot. Even your sorority, you know, you all have a history of being in the community and just giving back.
And that is our motto at Sigma Gamma Rho, sisterhood and service.
Okay, see, I didn't know that.
Service is a part of Sigma Gamma Rho. It's not about stomping with us. It's not about fashion shows and step shows. It is about doing the community service.
Okay, so you're in keeping with what that standard is of
Yes.
those poodle girls,
Yes.
as I was told. Okay, and I have to commend you all for that because you all are all doing great things. You have been working with families of individuals that's incarcerated, and a lot of times the children are often forgotten.
Yes.
What can you tell our community? What should we be doing in terms of trying to support the children? Because when there's an absent parent, I mean, there is a void there.
A couple of weeks ago, I actually went to an event of the Shifting Project, which is a new 501c3 here in Columbus, and that is what they do. They aim to work with youth of incarcerated parents. And she made a very valid point. A lot of this new thing that's going out, that when people have been incarcerated, whether they should be able to apply for or supposedly have PTSD. And I personally think they should. You know, that is an issue. You know, that's very traumatic going into prison.
Sure.
And so there are a lot of services when you have someone whose parent dies. They offer the child at school grief counseling.
That's
when
true.
they have family members who go off to war in Iraq,
Yeah.
they give grief counseling to the kids.
Yeah.
So why is grief counseling not given to children when their parents are incarcerated? That is very traumatic for a child, especially if it's in the middle of the night or they're getting arrested and they're seeing their parents being arrested. And what do you do for those children?
Right.
And so there needs to be,
Because we expect for them to go to school and perform and to be normal, whatever normal is. And we're not dealing with whatever those social issues are that might be preventing them from achieving excellence.
And there are a lot of issues, especially in our community, where children are dealing with a lot of things. And when you're dealing with maybe you didn't eat dinner, maybe the last meal you ate was at lunch.
And that's a reality.
Or you have a parent who's addicted to drugs. They're never home, so they're neglectful. There may be sexual abuse.
And this covers all social and economic and ethnic groups.
Yes.
It's not specific.
Yes, it's not necessarily black children in the South Side.
Exactly.
You know, this is white children, Hispanic kids. I mean,
All
you have
groups.
some kids right now who are up in North Columbus who have rich parents and they're being neglected or maybe being sexually abused. So, but having a parent who's incarcerated, it just does something to you because it is another one of the reasons people can bully you.
Right.
You know, to have to always ask that question, why is your mom and dad not coming to events and why are they not doing this? And so there needs to be resources for kids who are dealing with it because it's also traumatic, especially when you either going to visit someone in jail or because it's so far away.
You can't
and
go.
You can't go and visit.
Right.
And so that is one of the next projects I've actually wanted to think about maybe doing with New Life once I take it to the board of directors for approval. That maybe we can probably get the funding together to possibly rent a van, maybe on a quarterly basis, to be able to transport some families to some of the prisons that are around and across Georgia, that we'll be able to give them that transportation there and give them the transportation back.
Right, because I used to teach in Calhoun State Prison through a federal education grant. And then I actually, with this program, went into the Pulaski State Prison, and that's where I learned where there was once a church that sponsored trips for the children so they could go and visit their mothers or their fathers that were incarcerated. And that's so very important to maintain that connection.
And that would be really good. And it'd be really nice. And I think that would be to be able to extend out with some of the churches. I think I'll try to connect with a few of the churches. But I've had a lot of difficulty with the churches here in Columbus because for some reason they're not as involved as they should.
Right.
You know, to just tell the truth.
Right, and we need to do more than just the Sunday and the Wednesday.
Yes, or the jail ministry once or twice
we really
a week.
need to go beyond what has been traditional
and I think
try
it
to
takes the spiritual and the faith-based community to do that. So I think I'll be reaching out to a few churches to ask them about possibly maybe using their vans and see if that'll work, because I think when people get home, one of the first places they're going to need to do is have some type of spiritual foundation.
Exactly.
And so I think that would be a good project, so I think I'll work on that.
All right, and so share with us how people can find out more information about the Just Leadership.
Okay. You can go to JUSTLeadershipUSA.org. You can also reach on my page. Everything I put on my page is always about Just Leadership. I am on Facebook at Waleisah Wilson. We can be our organization, New Life Second Chance Outreach, is also on Facebook, and we're also on Twitter at NL Second Chance.
Okay, and so you are involved in so many other, supporting other nonprofits in the community.
I mean, you have to.
Well, and you
it's
should.
Not about just me
it's
and my
a collaboration.
Yes.
But you are one of the best resources a social worker could ever have. And if any of them that are working at DFAC still, they need to get your number, write it on the bathroom wall at DFAC.
Okay.
Because no, you run into people that really need to know where the resources are. And a lot of them are not paid for by the government. That's a myth. So a lot of those things we need to make sure that we get the word out. I know you do have the workshops and some resource fairs, but a lot of times the people that really need to know the information, it's not reaching them.
Yeah, and I think the reason I'm so much in tune with resources is because I've had to use the resources. I've had to go to food banks. I've had to live in shelters. I've slept on the bridges. I've had to go and find out what I need to do to get food stamps, where I can get, free health care. So
you've lived it.
Yes.
So your testimony is, you were abused as a child. You were in foster care.
Yes.
Then you ended up being a counselor at one of the facilities where you had been housed.
Yes.
You had your first birthday party in
a group home.
Yes. You went to a HBCU. You became a poodle girl, Sigma Gamma Rho.
Yes.
Then you've had all of these other life-changing, and you said you were homeless more than once.
As a child and as an adult.
And those were circumstances beyond your control.
Yes.
And that can happen to anyone.
Any day.
That's what I don't understand about people. Sometimes we just live in our own little perfect world, and we don't understand that you can wake up one day and your life can be changed,
That's right.
never to be the same.
That's right.
Right. So what's your words of encouragement for other women?
I think my words of encouragement is to never give up. Never give up, and to know that despite your past and your circumstances, God has a purpose on your life. And doors that man may close, they're not always permanently closed. As a matter of fact, I was not supposed to be even getting off probation to 2025. And because my prosecutor is my Facebook friend and saw all the work that I've been doing, she took it upon herself to contact the new prosecutor, my probation officer, and the judge to say, look at what she's doing in the community. And when I talked to her, she said, when I sentenced you, it was not expected for you to go to prison and get out and be homeless and can't find a job. So I want to do something for you. And she advocated on my behalf to not only give me the first offender, which at some point my record is sealed, but to terminate my probation early. So now I can actually vote.
Wow.
Yes, so that is the most important part of it.
So you have lived
That's right.
that success.
And everything has a purpose, and you can always get something good. So never, regardless of what you've gone through, it can always be used as a testimony, and to never give up, because failure is not final.
All right, I love that.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, and we're your big cheerleaders. So we'll keep pushing you.
Thank you
And we
so much.
appreciate
I love
all
your
that you're
support.
doing. Thank you so much. All right, this has been Straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.